The rumors concerning you are circulating rapidly. You need to process this reality for a moment before we continue, because this is not the standard form of idle talk. This does not involve people criticizing you inside a private group text. It is an entirely different scenario. Actual individuals in rooms you have not entered are currently uttering your name with newfound weight. Over the past few weeks, you created a significant stir without intending to. You never initiated a single conflict. You never raised your voice at anyone. You did not even intend for this to occur. Yet your name is currently passing from person to person. Everyone has begun to realize a very particular truth about your character. They recognize that you are no longer someone to be played with. This realization did not stem from any explicit threats on your part. It happened because they observed you closely. They analyzed your behavior. Perhaps they did so unconsciously, yet they arrived at a firm conclusion that is deeply unsettling to them. Consequently, your standing is surprising them, and it will soon amaze you as well, since you have not fully grasped the magnitude of what you built. Let us dive right into the details. Let us discuss what is being said, who is driving the conversation, and why your name remains on everyone's lips. Let us speak plainly for a moment. You have recently become the main subject of discussion, have you not? Here is the plot twist that is confusing everyone. They assumed they could tarnish your character and watch you collapse. They were mistaken. You did not merely endure their quiet comments. You rendered those comments completely meaningless. Allow me to illustrate what is truly occurring. Picture yourself as a massive, ancient oak tree standing in the center of a severe tempest. Turbulence is gathering all around you. People are whispering like gusts of wind, attempting to shake your leaves and snap your branches. However, there is a key detail to consider. They are nothing more than gusting wind, just simple wind. Meanwhile, you are the deeply anchored tree. The stronger they blow, the more they realize that while they create a mess with the leaves on the ground, they cannot displace your main trunk. Your quietness is not a sign of vulnerability. It represents an unbreakable foundation. That single realization is what frightens them far more than any direct argument ever could. To begin with, people are discussing how you present yourself. Not the frequency of your presence, but the impact you make when you arrive. Everyone has noticed a consistent trend over time, wherein you are not constantly present. You do not attend every single event. You are not the person constantly messaging everyone to organize the next gathering. Yet whenever you enter a room, the atmosphere shifts noticeably. Everyone senses it. They always do. You possess an engaging charisma. You are humorous. You radiate warmth. Everyone remembers precisely what it felt like to share space with you. That exact dynamic is what baffles them. Because if your presence is so enjoyable, why do you step away so frequently? Why do you remain silent for weeks at a time? People are engaged in real discussions, trying to understand why you prefer your own personal space, rather than constantly being out in public. Here is the underlying truth that nobody has vocalized yet. It is not that you dislike others. Rather, you do not depend on them the way they depend on you. They require your presence. That distinct difference is precisely what renders you unforgettable. The commotion you caused did not stem from retaliating. It was the result of your unwavering composure. That is the element they cannot comprehend. In a society where everyone is desperately seeking attention, Your quiet confidence functions as a formidable asset. It is almost humorous how individuals who lack control over their own affairs have so much to say about yours. They analyze your decisions, your personal bonds, and your career path, while their own circumstances are barely held together by temporary fixes and denial. However, you are not simply coping with the chatter. You are rising far above it. You are advancing so rapidly that last week's rumors are already distant memories to you, even if others are still dwelling on them like old, flavorless gum. Now the narrative becomes even more intriguing. People are beginning to suspect that you possess substantial wealth. Not flashy, boastful wealth, but the quiet kind. It is the subtle kind where others notice you never seem anxious over expenses. You never panic during unexpected setbacks. You never request financial assistance. When someone else is struggling, you somehow always have the exact support they require. Perhaps you drive an unpretentious vehicle. Perhaps your attire is not high-end fashion. Yet there is an undeniable dignity in your demeanor. The way you navigate a shop and place an order without double-checking the cost causes people to pause and wonder how you possess such resources without disclosing their source, which genuinely frustrates them because you are not publicly boasting about side ventures or showing off new purchases. You simply remain securely grounded while everyone else panics. Such stability appears enigmatic in a culture where every detail is broadcast publicly. This connects directly to the next point people keep mentioning, which is how opportunities seem to effortlessly flow toward you. Favorable circumstances, ideal timing, and the right individuals appear precisely when needed. Others witness this pattern taking place around you continuously. Naturally, a few individuals experience envy. Truthfully, a small circle out there is currently discussing how unfair it seems that you do not pursue outcomes with the same desperate struggle they exert. Yet you consistently obtain far more than they do after years of striving. They fail to grasp the mechanism behind it. They assume you must possess some hidden method. The reality is far more straightforward, though you already understand that. Therefore, we will not linger on the matter. Simply recognize that this topic is actively being discussed. Your effortless manner is being brought up. Your tranquility is being highlighted. Rest assured, your personal triumph serves as the most decisive refutation you could ever offer them. People are trying to break down your lifestyle as if it were a puzzle, and it is driving a specific group to frustration as they attempt to decipher it. There is another dimension to this situation. People have attempted to bind you to specific obligations. They tried locking you into weekly meetings, recurring commitments, group initiatives, or romantic arrangements designed to limit your freedom. Every single time, they observe that you refuse to remain constrained. You will attend. You will remain fully engaged. You will even offer the best version of yourself during those moments. Afterwards, you effortlessly slide away without feeling attached or burdened. This unsettles people to an extent because when most individuals commit, they become tangled up and dependent. You do not. You could step away from any social circle, job, or vague relationship tomorrow while remaining completely composed. Everyone around you senses that aura of independence, even if you never state it explicitly. Consequently, a subtle conversation is taking place regarding your untamed, nearly boundless mindset. In fact, your manner of expression stands out. You share perspectives that cause others to pause and ask for clarification, because your thinking differs entirely from everyone else in the room. That distinction is precisely what makes you appear as an enigma that no one can fully resolve. Speaking of enigmas, people are realizing you possess far greater intellect than you display publicly, not through loud arrogance, but in a reserved, self-protective manner. You do not share your deeper thoughts indiscriminately. If someone asks a genuine question, you offer a meaningful response that provides precisely the insight they required. Otherwise, you allow them to continue talking while observing from a distance they cannot cross. Individuals who have engaged in one-on-one conversations with you are beginning to share their experiences. They are recognizing that every private discussion with you carries a consistent tone, calm, clear, and strikingly accurate. When your predictions eventually unfold and your assessment of a situation proves spot on, the murmurs intensify. That is the moment you transition from merely being liked to being someone people carefully study. They are observing you at this very moment. They are watching from afar to see how you react. Do not grant them that satisfaction, because the deeper reality is that you now act as a mirror. When they speak about you, they are merely revealing their own internal flaws. Every critical remark, dismissive look, and quiet theory regarding your reserved nature or mystery is an implicit confession of their own self-doubt. They feel intimidated because you do not require their approval. This dynamic brings us to their fascination. Yes, a genuine fascination. At this stage, a specific group of individuals has grown noticeably preoccupied with you. Without even realizing it, you have become the primary topic of conversation across multiple social circles. They want to discover your secret. They wonder about your actions. They ask how you do it. They wonder how you maintain your composure while they are unraveling. They have even begun organizing events specifically to ensure your attendance, hoping that remaining near you will allow some of your qualities to rub off on them. Listen closely, because this is where I want to pause and share a crucial point. You do not owe them any more access than you currently grant. Whatever strength you have cultivated and whatever energy you are preserving, continue to safeguard it. Do not compromise it simply to satisfy their curiosity. The fact that they cannot fully comprehend you is precisely what keeps this entire dynamic going. Now here is a detail that is becoming remarkably obvious to others, which you will likely resonate with deeply. People have realized they cannot take advantage of you. They cannot deceive you without consequences. They cannot manipulate you as they have done with others. This is not because you are cold, distant, or harsh. It is simply because you perceive the truth behind actions, as you always have. The individuals around you who are accustomed to employing subtle manipulation are now discovering that such tactics fail against you, which genuinely disturbs them. Some admire this trait, while others resent it, yet every single one of them discusses it. Interacting with someone who cannot be tricked reshapes the group dynamic and forces people to act with greater honesty, whether they intend to or not. That represents a unique form of influence to carry into any environment without even trying. Let us shift focus for a moment, as a completely separate conversation is occurring among people from your past. Allow me to pace myself, as the topic is profound. Someone, or perhaps several individuals, is struggling immensely to let go of you. Initially, it may have seemed like they were attempting to win you back by sending messages or appearing at places you frequent. However, that phase has concluded for some of them. Now they are navigating a harder phase where they attempt to move forward, only to realize they cannot erase you from their thoughts. They dream about you. They replay past interactions, questioning what might have happened had they acted differently. Because accepting their inability to move on is uncomfortable, some have resort to messier behavior. Indeed, they have begun speaking unfavorably about you to those around them. Perhaps they depict you as cold, self-centered, or difficult, because convincing themselves that you were the problem makes it easier to handle missing you. Yet here is the crucial point. Their listeners are not believing the narrative. They are challenging it. They are pointing out inconsistencies and asking why someone so composed and grounded would be the villain in the story. Consequently, even as someone tries to tarnish your image to lighten their own regret, those listening are quietly coming to your defense. People whose names you do not even know. This leads into an even broader phenomenon. Individuals who have never met you personally have also begun discussing you. Your reputation is reaching much further than you realize. Strangers are hearing about you secondhand through the stories of others. Rather than imagining a difficult individual, they picture someone balanced, warm, calm, and seemingly in control of life in a way that feels exceptionally rare today. People describe you in an inspiring sense based on how you navigate existence. They observe how you appreciate subtle beauty. They notice how being around you encourages others to slow down and experience life rather than rushing through on autopilot. You motivate others simply by living authentically, and that influence is expanding through conversations you are not even attending. There's also a growing sense that you are destined to achieve far greater recognition than you currently possess. Something in your poise, your handling of adversity, and your capacity to rebuild rather than collapse is capturing attention on a wider scale. Here is what makes it so fascinating. People have observed that you do not panic when circumstances crumble around you. Unfortunate setbacks do occur on occasion. You avoid hasty fixes. You take your time. You restore order properly. You fortify the foundation before building anew. That level of patience is uncommon, and people discuss it as a skill they wish to acquire. Some even view their encounter with you as a major turning point in their personal journeys, feeling that crossing paths with you marked the moment their own lives began to transform. Whether that realization felt comfortable at first or not, I want you to truly digest this truth. Whenever you enter someone's life, be it a close friendship, a professional relationship, or a brief encounter, things become serious very quickly. Those around you are forced to address matters they have ignored for years. Old habits fail, deceptions fall flat, fragile arrangements begin to collapse, because your presence leaves no room for insincerity, which makes certain people uncomfortable. Yet that is precisely why they cannot stop talking about you. Ironic as it is, you are not actively trying to transform anyone. You simply remain completely authentic, and living authentically creates a ripple effect where others either rise to match your standard or find their flaws exposed. There is no middle ground. Some individuals are almost hesitant to admit how deeply you impacted them, because acknowledging it publicly means admitting how much personal growth they required. Thus they discuss it privately among themselves in quiet awe. People also frequently mention your immense patience and how it should never be mistaken for weakness, even though a few individuals have tried to undermine it. There is certainly someone out there who looked at your gentle nature and assumed you would be easy to take advantage of. They attempted to draw close, specifically under the assumption that your kindness meant lower defenses. Perhaps they sought emotional closeness or tried to make you feel responsible for their well-being, attempting to enter your life through requests for favors or by acting helpless. I need you to hear this clearly. Distance yourself from that energy. You likely know exactly who this refers to, having felt it in your intuition beforehand. That gut feeling is accurate, not dramatic. Someone in your vicinity is untrustworthy and insincere, hovering around because they mistake a big heart for an unprotected one. Having a large heart does not mean compromising your boundaries. Maintain your firm stance. You owe no one an explanation for your strength. This is where you set the boundary, because this is where the dynamic shifts. Your reputation does not merely shock them, it intimidates them. When intimidation stems from quiet strength, it causes others to act irrationally and carelessly. They overcompensate, speak louder, and attempt to draw you into conflict just to see if you will break. Remember that formidable leaders do not concern themselves with the opinions of followers. They do not lose sleep over complaining voices, and neither should you. Those trying to find flaws in your character operate from insecurity and fear. You operate from abundance and conviction. That divide cannot be bridged. There is no middle ground, and they are aware of it. This is precisely why people have begun stating that you are virtually impossible to manipulate. Even those who attempted it most persistent, coming at you with charm, guilt, or victimhood to make you feel indebted, failed completely. Now in private conversations they are admitting defeat to one another, acknowledging that despite their best efforts, their tactics simply failed. They recognize that you are far too grounded, protected, and clear-headed to fall for deception. That admission, despite being frustrating for them, is becoming an integral part of your reputation. You are becoming known across various circles as someone who cannot be played. They assumed you were trapped in the storm, but in reality, you are the storm. You represent the calm at the center, as well as the force reshaping everything around you.